Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News, at this hour, thousands of teachers looking to migrate may be affected by a new rule requiring payment of $100,000 for a visa.
Hugh Small says no government minister should lead the constitutional reform process going forward.
More than $5 million worth of ganja seized in St. Thomas.
Jamaica Environment Trust welcomes standalone Ministry for Environmental Affairs.
Tourism Minister vowing to better include local players in the sector.
In news from the rest of the world, Amnesty International is warning that U.S. strikes in the Caribbean Sea violate international law.
France has formally recognized the Palestinian state.
In headline sports, JOA President Christopher Samudas pays glowing tribute to sprint legend Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, several roads were left impassable as torrential rains caused heavy flooding in the corporate area and other parts of the island. The Works Minister Robert Morgan and Managing Director of Lucy Caribbean Limited, Heather Pinnock, will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, was Paula Llewellyn a success as DPP? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
At 7, at least one international human rights lobby group has warned that any further airstrikes authorized by the U.S. Congress in the Caribbean Sea would violate international human rights law. But the Trinidadian Prime Minister has welcomed the airstrikes. You'll hear more. We'll have all these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, RivaNews.ai, and on the Riva News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's Monday, September 22, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Teachers looking to work in the United States using the H-1B visa are set to face fewer job prospects. This after U.S. President Donald Trump imposed a $100,000 fee for applicants seeking to utilize the program. Immigration attorney Opal Lee says the price hike, which will be borne by the U.S. school districts looking to recruit the teachers, could create roadblocks.
It will definitely have an effect on teachers because the teachers that will be paying this $100,000 will be the employers. In this case, it will be the school administration. Now, what this will mean is that the schools are going to not hire teachers from Jamaica or elsewhere. Instead, they're going to rely on only U.S. citizens or permanent residents or other people who are already in the United States with proper legal documents to fill those positions.
Teacher migration has long been an issue in Jamaica, with many educators utilizing the H-1B visa to secure better paying jobs in the United States. Approximately 1,185 teachers resigned in the 2024-2025 academic year. And though the H-1B visa is not the only route out of Jamaica, hundreds of teachers end up in jobs in the United States using this channel. Ms. Lee says teachers who rely on the J-1 visa could also be impacted.
A lot of teachers come in on the J-1 program, and then the employer will transfer them over into an H-1 visa. A lot of teachers going on the J-1 and ultimately the H-1B program. I would think it's in the thousands of teachers from Jamaica that do this. And it's per application, that $100,000, this is money that you pay to the government. So it's in addition to whatever you would have to as the employer.
Opal Lee, immigration attorney.
A manhunt is underway for 37-year-old Samuel Brown, who is wanted for the murder of popular jockey O'Neill Ironman Mullings. Mullings was shot and killed in Waterhouse, St. Andrew, Sunday evening. The police initially named Brown and his brother Sean, both of 440 Drive in Waterhouse, as primary suspects. Preliminary information suggested the shooting stemmed from a dispute between Mullings and the suspects earlier in the day. Police have now identified Brown as the triggerman. SSP Damian Manderson is the commanding officer for St. Andrew South Police.
We're seeking the public's assistance to locate 37-year-old Samuel Brown, otherwise called Shooter or Mark, said to be a laborer mason from the 440 Drive community in the Kingston 11 area. He's wanted, and I repeat, he's wanted for the murder of 49-year-old O'Neill Mullins, a jockey from that community. Mullins was killed by Brown, from all reports received, during a dispute between the two men on Sunday, September 21, 2025, around about 6:40 p.m.
SSP Manderson is urging Brown to turn himself in to the Hunts Bay Police immediately.
We're urging members of the public who know the whereabouts of Samuel Brown to contact the nearest police station. We are asking and urging Brown to surrender to the police, or to just simply, with the aid of family members, a pastor, justice of the peace, to just report to the nearest police station so that we can execute the warrant and to carry on our investigations. We're urging members of the public not to provide even to Brown, but to rather support the interests of ensuring that justice is born by allowing the police to execute our job.
SSP Damian Manderson, commanding officer for St. Andrew South Police. Persons with information can also contact the Hunts Bay Criminal Investigations Branch at 876-923-7230, Crime Stop at 311, or the JCF tip line at 811.
The latest crime statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, show a significant reduction in murders in the parishes of St. James and Westmoreland up to September 20 this year. A combined 104 fewer people have been killed across both parishes compared to the same period in 2024. Shaloy Smykel has been tracking the data.
The St. James Police Division has recorded 43 murders since the start of 2025. That's a 57% decline in homicides in the division. Shootings in the parish are down 54%, while rape has decreased by 46%. But break-ins and robberies have increased by 25% and 119% respectively. In Westmoreland, 27 people have been killed so far this year, compared to 74 in 2024. That represents a 64% drop. Shootings and rape have also fallen sharply in the parish, while break-ins and robberies remain at similar levels to last year. St. Andrew South leads the country's divisional murder tally with 59 homicides, down from 75 in 2024. Portland has recorded the fewest murders with 9, one more than last year. St. Thomas has recorded 13 murders, 2 fewer than the previous year. Overall, there's been a 41% decline in murders since the start of the year. 500 murders were recorded between January 1 and September 20. This is 345 fewer than the 845 murders reported over the same period in 2024. Minister of National Security and Peace, Dr. Horace Chang, says Jamaica could record a murder rate below 700 by the end of the year if the current downward trend continues. He was speaking on Nationwide this morning on Monday.
When you look at the numbers, it is remarkable we have moved from not only the public discourse significantly reduced, there seems to be a problem in my own parish, ordinary water, not murders. When I look at the numbers, we started off at getting under 1,000. Then we look at 800. The professors say when we get to 800, we can reduce the retardation significantly and therefore get a kind of rapid fall once we get to that number. But we are already moving below that. I looked at the numbers. I said we could in fact get under 700. We have been averaging below 60 homicides per month, and that would put us below 700, just below it, if we keep at that rate.
Dr. Chang says robust policing efforts must continue to sustain the reduction in murders. Shaloy Smykel for Nationwide News.
Investigators assigned to the Police Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division, FNID, seized close to 2,000 pounds of ganja during an operation in Dumfries, St. Thomas on Sunday. Reports are that about 11 p.m. an operation was carried out at a beach in Dumfries where two men were seen with a quantity of knitted bags. The men were accosted and a search of the bags revealed the compressed ganja. A boat was also seized. The illicit drug has an estimated street value of $5.7 million. The men were taken into custody. Acting Director of FNID, Superintendent Oral Henry, says the seizure has prevented a significant amount of drugs from reaching its destination. He says it has also cut off a key financial pipeline for criminal gangs. The public is reminded to report illegal firearms and narcotics to FNID at 876-923-6184, the National Intelligence Bureau at 811, Crime Stop at 311, or the nearest police station.
Former member of the Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC, Hugh Small, says going forward, the constitutional reform process should not be led by a government minister. Small made the comment while reflecting on what needs to be done to relaunch the process now that it sits with the new Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
I do not think that's a good idea for whatever body is set up to look at the proposals, to receive the proposals that come from members of the public, should be headed by a minister of government. If there is something that I think was a mistake in the Constitutional Reform Committee, it is that. And I sincerely hope that in the quiet moments of reflection that must take place between Andrew and Mark, that is something that they can admit to each other without making any public statement. It didn't work.
The previous reform effort was co-chaired by then Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahoo Fort. But she has since been removed from the cabinet and her ministry subsumed under Justice and Constitutional Affairs. No reason has been given for the change. The new ministry is headed by Delroy Chuck, with Marissa Dalrymple Philibert serving as State Minister. Small says the portfolio minister must ensure the process is truly representative and collaborative.
If we're going to have representatives of the church, they should not be handpicked. They must be representatives of the church. Given that, we're a very religious country, but we also have several branches of the Christian church in the Christian and other states in Jamaica. Similarly, if there's going to be a youth representative, or more than one youth representative, they must reflect a choice which may involve bringing youth organizations together to see if they can agree on who that person should be.
Hugh Small, former member of the Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC. He was speaking with Nationwide News today.
Meanwhile, Mr. Small says the country's two political leaders must begin a process of compromise to break the deadlock over the country's final appellate court and the move towards a republic. He says both Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and Opposition Leader Mark Golding must be willing to give and take on the issue.
I think Mr. Holness needs to address Mark. Mark, let me sit down and have a discussion. Let us try and have as much agreement as we can between ourselves. And if there's still disagreement, let me go back to my people and the same thing with Mark. And when they come out, they must make it clear we are approaching it as a national project and not as a subject that is going to become part of the legacy of either political party. It is very appropriate and propitious that it can start now at the beginning of the life of this parliament.
Prime Minister Dr. Holness has made known his preference for a final appellate court based in Jamaica, while Mr. Golding insists any move to abolish the British monarchy must also be twinned to accepting the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ. The Prime Minister says he ultimately wants the matter of a final appellate court to be put to the Jamaican people in a referendum. Mr. Small says both men and their parties will have to compromise to get beyond the hurdle.
I think that in the discussion that are to take place, if the PNP is prepared to concede that the question of the final court can be the subject and will have to be the subject of a referendum in order to get cooperation to show its willingness to cooperate with the JLP. And if Mr. Holness is prepared to consider that if that is the case, if we are prepared to make that concession, then he will review the very strong held views that exist within several of the leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party, that we should not have the Caribbean Court of Appeal, the Caribbean Court of Justice as our final court. That will have to be adjusted.
Hugh Small.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 32 out west in Montego Bay.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
The wait is over. Spark is coming to you. Across Jamaica, we'll be fixing 10 roads per constituency. Over 100 roads will be fixed by September and 630 roads overall. This is real action, real improvement, real results. Every Jamaican deserves safer, stronger roads. Spark, the next chapter in Jamaica's infrastructure development.
Continuing the news, CEO of the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, is welcoming the decision to separate the water, environment and climate change portfolios from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development. Dr. Rodriguez Moody says the move is a positive step for the management and protection of the environment.
The elevation of the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change to a standalone entity, which is now led by Minister Samuda, signals a potential turning point in how Jamaica prioritizes environmental issues with its own agenda. Separating it from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, which is where it was previously, will, we hope, remove that structural tension that was between development and environmental protection. And I think it allows for a clearer mandate and less dilution of priorities.
Minister Matthew Samuda previously had responsibility for the areas as a minister without portfolio in the then Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. He now assumes full responsibility. Environmental rights activists had complained that environmental issues were being put on the back burner in favor of building the construction, or rather, let's do that again, were put on the back burner in favor of building and construction permits. The JET CEO says she hopes the new ministry will have a broad mandate to affect decisions across various sectors.
It's important to note that environmental issues also intersect with other things such as your agriculture, your tourism and so forth. And so it's important that this new ministry be empowered to influence cross-sectoral decisions and not be siloed.
That's Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, the CEO of JET.
Jamaica should brace for more rain and thunderstorms this week. That's according to the local Met Service. It says there's a ridge of high pressure building across the island. The Met Service says the ridge is expected to persist into the middle of the week. Isolated showers and thunderstorms are expected to occur across most parishes during the week, mainly in the afternoon. Last Friday, several roads were impassable as torrential rains caused heavy flooding in parts of the island. Videos on social media showed cars attempting to brave floodwaters across the corporate area. Businesses, homes, and gullies were also significantly flooded.
The Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has vowed to ensure greater inclusion of local players in the country's growing tourism product. He made the pledge at the opening of the Jamaica Product Exchange JAPEX 2025, now underway in Montego Bay, St. James.
And I want to say that with a lot of energy, because that's what we're bringing to this process. That tourism has worked for us as a driver of the economy. We wanted to work more for the people of Jamaica. And so the new concept of local first will begin to be formulated within this era. The policies will be developed around it, the legislative and regulatory arrangements to enable it. And what we could say tonight, that your partners who are coming from the four corners of the world that we just indicated are going to be part of that process that is going to make the tourism more for the people of Jamaica than it has ever been in the history of tourism.
That's Edmund Bartlett, the tourism minister.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute. International human rights lobby group Amnesty International has warned that any further airstrikes authorized by the U.S. Congress in the Caribbean Sea would violate international human rights law. The group says such strikes could also lead to unlawful executions. Amnesty International USA's Director of Security and Human Rights, Daphne Aviatar, says if the Congress authorized strikes against suspected drug traffickers, that would not change the fact that lethal force amounted to extrajudicial executions. The group also warned that even with congressional approval, the use of force in the Caribbean Sea would have no legal justification under international human rights law. The Trump administration has already claimed responsibility for 3 airstrikes on shipping vessels, which they alleged were involved in drug trafficking. The U.S. has claimed the vessels originated from Venezuela. Multiple people are thought to have been killed in the strikes. Trinidadian fishermen are reportedly fearful of going to sea at the risk of being caught up in any further strikes. The Trinidadian Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has welcomed the airstrikes, urging the U.S. government to kill them all.
The French President Emmanuel Macron announced on Monday that France has formally recognized the Palestinian state. He made the announcement at a UN summit on a 2-state solution in New York. The move follows Britain, Canada, Australia and Portugal, which formally recognized the state of Palestine on Sunday. Several more nations are expected to declare their support today. Macron said the recognition of a Palestinian state was the only solution that will allow for Israel to live in peace while defeating Hamas. The French president said the recognition of the rights of the Palestinian people would take nothing away from the rights of the people of Israel. The French leader thanked other nations who have recognized Palestine as a state. He said the growing global recognition was the responsible choice that would ensure a lasting 2-state solution. Israel has strongly condemned the move.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, thousands of teachers looking to migrate may be affected by a new rule requiring the payment of $100,000 for a visa.
Hugh Small says no government minister should lead the constitutional reform process going forward.
More than $5 million worth of ganja seized in St. Thomas.
Jamaica Environment Trust welcomes standalone Ministry for Environmental Affairs.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
And listeners, you can find the news on our website at rivernews.ai and on the River News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Freedom, speed, agility, intelligence, friendship. These are the hallmarks that define the dolphin, the master of the seas, and are the hallmarks that inspire Sterling Asset Management. For over 20 years, we have provided investment products that give our clients financial freedom, and our service is fast, insightful, warm, and genuine. Sterling Asset Management, intelligent investing for the intelligent investor.
Public opinion. Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are a Jamaican. Different people.
It's not a matter of a GLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Good afternoon with your sports report. I am Alric Swaby. We kick things off with some footballers at Sports Time. Chapeltown Maroons and Spanish Town Police were locked at 0-0 in the first match of a doubleheader in the Ray and Never Jamaica Premier League at the Jerusalem Stadium. Meanwhile, former champions Waterhouse and Arnott Gardens are set to square off in the feature match at 7:30 in what promises to be an electrifying encounter between two of Jamaica's most terrorized football clubs. Both teams head into the match locked on 6 points from 4 games, having each registered 2 wins and 2 losses so far this season. However, Waterhouse currently sits ahead of Arnott Gardens on the table by virtue of a superior goal difference. President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, pays glowing tribute to sprint legend Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce following the curtain call on her remarkable World Championships career. The 38-year-old icon brought her historic journey to a fitting close with a silver medal in the women's 4x100 meters relay at the Tokyo World Championships, her 17th medal in global meet, and a testament to her enduring excellence on the world stage. Fraser-Pryce's World Championship resume is unparalleled: 10 gold, 6 silver and a bronze, a legacy of dominance and resilience spanning 10 consecutive championships. Known affectionately as the Pocket Rocket, her impact on the sport has transcended lanes, inspiring generations and athletes around the world. Samuda hailed Fraser-Pryce as a beacon of determination and national pride.
The Jamaica Olympic Association salutes a daughter, salutes a wife, salutes a mother and an Olympian. And above all, we salute a human being whose very spirit ignited and will continue to ignite, I have no doubt, a country and the global citizenry in sport. You know, electronic records are applauded, but character is saluted. Gold medalists reach for the utmost podium, but standard bearers go beyond the podium. So, the Jamaica Olympic Association salutes Shelly-Ann, a standard bearer and a revered member of our household whose footprints created history and whose legacy will define the future.
Samuda noted that Fraser-Pryce's ability to remain at the pinnacle of her sport for over a decade speaks volume about her work ethics and mental toughness, quality he believes should serve as a blueprint for emerging talent.
You know, aspiring champions, the youth of the sporting world, take note. Take note of this textbook lesson in humility, empathy, respect, civility, conviction, valor, and integrity. Take note, generations of youth, and be motivated.
Christopher Samuda. Now, Kenya is toasting a golden generation of female track stars after they led the nation to a second place in the medal table behind the United States at the 2025 World Athletics Championships. Female runners won 6 of the East African nation's 7 gold medals in Tokyo, sweeping top spot on the podium in every event from 800 meters up to the marathon. That remarkable run of victories culminated in a stunning upset as Leanne Odera won the 800-meter on Sunday, shattering her personal best by nearly 2 seconds, as well as a 42-year-old championship record in the process.
Hodgkinson desperate for this gold, having missed out by a whisker twice. Odera's coming. Hodgkinson's beginning to tie up. And the Kenyans going to do it. What an upset. What a story. Oh, my word. The championship record that has stood since 1983 has gone. It was too fast on the first lap. And Lilian Odera has sent the Kenyans in the crowd into raptures.
What makes the feat even more impressive is that Adira, 1500-meter champion Faith Kipyegon, and marathon winner Perez Chepchirchir are all mothers. Indeed, Adira spent several years away from the track to start her family with 2 boys now aged 4 and 2 before returning to competition in 2023. I'm Alex Raby, that's your sports.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:30.
From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocherias to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
31 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 32 in Montego Bay.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group. Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
Do it for your best life. Great. Go check your HIV status. Great. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell you if it do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda husband, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan. Do it for your best life. Great. Do it for your best life. Great. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life. Great.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is the
For more
TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently? But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor to go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deep fake?
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
Commercial spaces for you. Parks and attractions for you. Housing and residential developments for you. beautiful rental properties for you. Improving quality of life through infrastructure development across Jamaica for you. The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you. Brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation.
UDC for you.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere, spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multi-link?
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and if you've stayed with us, for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the Cover Story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Of the afternoon to you, Sir Ricardo. Top of the afternoon to our listeners and viewers on YouTube. I'm Tyrone Reid.
How are you, my friend?
Not too shabby for a middle-aged guy. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing very well for a young guy. In the Cover Story this afternoon, flooding. Several roads were left impassable as torrential rains caused flooding in the corporate area and other parts of the island on Friday. Now, videos circulating on social media showed business places flooded out, as well as what appeared to be a JUTC bus with water rising. Videos also showed cars floating in those flood waters.
Now, several residents from Mountain View Avenue in St. Andrew were still cleaning up their homes this morning after a flash flood caused dislocation and damage last Friday. The source of the frustration and grief is the Burger Gully, which is in urgent need of repairs. Sections of the structure were eroded due to the impact of the rains, and this caused the flooding of several homes. Some residents spoke to the media at the weekend.
Well, yesterday we were in here, I was trying to, the rain started to fall, the lightning flashing, and because we know of the situation, I started pack up a little things, pack up little stuff and throw them up there. So by the time I was in here and take it up, then I look at mine, I close the back door. So I like a spirit of myself, open the back, when I look, I see the water start coming in from the back. And by the time I could just push up the mattress them, and then I have to leave out.
Yeah.
Because the water just
Because we have an elderly here, which is my grandma.
Yeah.
So we have to get my whole grandmother into dry area.
We have to get her across the neighbor. I scream out, get somebody to help me, take her across the road. Yeah. And then by the time I come back in, there's nothing else I could do. There's nothing else could do. Water just rush in from the front and the back.
A resident there, and one woman says her constant pleas to the authorities have fallen on deaf ears over the years. In the meantime, the president of the Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica, the IMAJ, Richard Mullings, says the country's infrastructure has not kept pace with the scale of development projects over the past several years. Mullings, who's a civil engineer, says recommendations from members of his profession must be taken seriously as part of an integrated approach to the development of the built environment.
Infrastructure services, roads, drains, so on, are public utilities, just like your electricity, your telephone. The government has to make a concerted effort to review the status of these things. And the first step is to get the engineers, either through the National Works Agency or some other contracting mechanism, to do the engineering reviews of the infrastructure and make the appropriate recommendations, and not to file the reports, not to create reports and file them, but to actually action the recommendations. Or are we just going to see this increase in these issues are not going to stop, they're going to increase.
The voice there of Richard Mullings, president of the IMAJ. Now, we're being joined by the Minister with Responsibility for Works, Robert Morgan. After the break, we'll hear from the Managing Director of Lucy Caribbean Limited, Heather Pinnock. Lucy Caribbean provides development advisory services and strategic planning. Top of the afternoon to you, Minister.
Good afternoon, Minister.
Hi, good afternoon, Tyrone. And is that
It's Ricardo.
Ricardo, good afternoon and good afternoon to your listeners.
Go ahead, Ricardo. You do that to Ricardo every time you come here, Minister. Now we know you do it on purpose.
Off his balance. Questions are soft.
You won't succeed, Minister. But let me start. Let me start by asking you. I'm sure you'd have perhaps received the preliminary report as to what exactly happened on Friday, because it didn't rain for all that long, and parts of the city, especially New Kingston, were just completely flooded. What happened?
Well, let us establish several facts here. So, for the day in question, Kingston received 27% of the rain it would have received on average for September, on the 30-year average. Meaning, for September is the wettest month on average. And we would have received in 90 minutes a quarter of all the rain we would have received in the area for September within 90 minutes. And there were areas, for example, in East Rural and West Rural in the hills, that was 42% of their monthly wettest month average. Our dream may be perfect, though they have challenges and require significant upgrades. Even if they were perfect, could not have accommodated that volume of water. So I hear a lot of complaints that the drains overflow. If you have a quarter of the rain you get in the wettest month of the year falling in 90 minutes, there is going to be unprecedented flooding across the city. That doesn't necessarily mean that we should not work on improving the drainage. With climate change and the change in the design of the city, more buildings, less trees, less absorption, we are and we're in the process of upgrading drains. For example, the Ministry of Finance would have allocated about $3 billion for us to do work on the Sandy Gully. There is plans to do some work on the Burger Gully, which is the one that had a damage on it. But I want to say to you that a part of the problem as well is that a lot of persons live on the gullies. So if something happens with the gully, they are going to be made vulnerable. And this is not a new problem. It's a long-standing problem, and we have always been advocating that the country needs to make a decision as to how do we deal with persons who live on the gullies and who are on gullies that are vulnerable, especially downstream gullies which are close to the sea, which are more prone to overflow than the upstream gullies.
You say make a decision as if multiple options are available.
And you have to have political consensus, and I don't think that there is political consensus. There isn't even political consensus to move people off Riverton, which is a health hazard for those who live in and around it. And whenever the government suggests it, there is significant pushback. We have advocated in hurricane season on numerous occasions for persons to be moved, and there is always a resistance. So the country has to, and whenever the country comes to a decision, the country usually acts it up. But there has to be a critical mass of people who accept that persons cannot live here. It's a danger to them. It make up. Thank God, on this occasion, we did not have loss of life. We did not have any major injuries. We just lost property, which is significant, but still we have to be thankful. But a big part of the problem that we have is over the many decades, persons have or need to find places to live. I've lived beside the gullies. If you look at on the side of the Sandy Gully, there are large communities that should not be there. These communities, in many cases, do not have the necessary infrastructure to accommodate a garbage truck going into them. So the persons, they don't really have a choice. They dump the garbage in the gully, and when the garbage goes downstream, it blocks the gully, and the gully overflows. So those are some of the challenges that we have, and it's going to require.
Minister, let me bring you back to political consensus. The third term has loaded for the Jamaica Labour Party. You've been given a mandate by the people of Jamaica. Governments are elected to govern, How much longer are we going to talk about what seems to be the solution seems pellucid? Yes? Can we have people living on the gullies? Well, the answer to that can't be yes.
Well, the answer is obviously no, but whenever the government makes a statement that we want to move people off the gullies, you hear various local politicians begin to advocate, and along with the residents. Now,
for an illegality to continue? Are governments elected to govern, Minister?
We have to accept that while it is an illegality, these are people's lives who have established themselves for many decades. A process
so don't just unceremoniously move them, Minister. Put something in place that would benefit those individuals and the illegality. Isn't that what a government is supposed to do?
And I'm saying to you, we cannot bulldoze people. We have to find a way to work with both our colleagues, whoever they may be, and also the residents. It's a very sensitive situation. It's an issue of human rights. People need.
No, I hear you, the Minister, and you introduced bulldoze to the conversation, not me, right? So, but let me put it to you like this: can this situation continue with people living on the gully banks?
No, it can't, because one of these days it's going to end in a major disaster, and we're going to lose lives. So we have to do something about it very quickly. From my side, as the Minister with responsibility for works, my job is to maintain the gullies. We probably are going to have to move to a position where we have an exclusion zone along the gully side. But I cannot come on radio and announce that, because that requires consensus and it might require legislation. And that is going to require a lot of discussion with not just the political leaders, but also various interest groups who are interested in these things. And I am new to the equation, and I see it as an urgent matter, as something that I am championing. And the Prime Minister is also committed to it, because we recognize the danger of what is happening there. For example, if you build infrastructure along the gully wall, you're going to eventually undermine the gully. The wall is going to become compromised. And those are things that we have to consider.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because while the conversation we're having just now with Tyrone about vulnerable populations is obviously a live one, we had sections of New Kingston, Trafalgar Park, is it called, there in New Kingston being flooded. And I saw one woman saying a development that conceivably had gone through the approval process and was erected had done something that blocked the gullies. So obviously that's a local matter in terms of how these permits are granted and executed. But the synergies that need to happen, Minister, to ensure that as we build up the environment, and grant these permits, as the Works Minister, how better can your ministry work with the local authorities to prevent something like what we saw on Friday happening again?
Well, I would have to investigate that specific case, but what I want to say to you is that a solution is coming, and the solution is called the One Road Authority, which is not just to deal with roads, but to deal with overall regulation of roads, and it's probably going to include drains and a modification of the role of the National Works Agency in how it oversees a lot of these developments that impact on national infrastructure. There's also a right-of-way policy that is being promulgated. It has been to cabinet, and that is one of the areas that we're looking at. For example, the usage of the road thoroughfare for utilities and so forth, and also what impact does developments have on the national infrastructure that belongs to everybody. We have been moving very fast in terms of development over the last 10 to 15 years. And in many cases, legislation has not caught up with development. It lags behind. We have recognized the significant risks, especially with climate change, especially with a more developmentally or environmentally conscious population, especially recognizing that we're spending billions of dollars on infrastructure, and people are spending and investing in their businesses, and we cannot allow individuals, right, without, I'm not speaking about specifically this situation, to develop. Because I have had to call the CEO of End of Day on several occasions, driving around Kingston, and I see developers doing things that are contrary to what is right for the country. For example, the Red Hills Road cement truck problem. It's a perennial problem. I've met with the head of the police. We have put out ads in the paper, and we are realizing that the only thing that is going to stop cement trucks from dumping Can you imagine, Ricardo, we milled the road, which is scrape off the top asphalt, and we're going to come on Monday to put on a new layer of asphalt. And by the time we reach to put on a new layer of asphalt, there's a brand new layer of cement in the section that we milled. And it shows the irresponsibility. And so the gully issue is that a part of a symptomatic of a wider problem where we have not enforced effectively, or we have not created effective laws to encourage citizens, developers, business people to recognize the importance of our gully infrastructure, or road infrastructure, to respect them, and if they don't respect them, there are consequences. But something is coming to deal with that.
I get in the wrap-up signal, Terry.
Before we go, go ahead, Ricardo.
Because I want to just go back to the drain issue, because you touched on it, Minister, about climate change. You made the point about the volume of rainfall we got in a relatively short space of time. In terms of what we have to do now to reconfigure the city to make it, climate resilient to these kinds of weather events that we're going to see more often. What's the scope in terms of the planning to do that?
How extensive is the remedial work that would be needed? That's what I wanted to ask, yes.
Well, the scope is that to do the drainage upgrades and road upgrades. Example, if I bring everything together and I wanted to go to the Minister of Finance and say, I want to upgrade all the major drains in Jamaica and the roads that lead to them, I'm looking at $150 billion. The country has not had the fiscal space historically to do that. However, we are increasing the fiscal space. So, for example, last year this financial year we got $4 billion to start planning works for Sandy Gully, which is going to be a multi-year project. This is something that we could not have done before. Right. So what is happening to us is, as the debt to GDP reduces, as the government has more fiscal space, as the revenues increase, we're able to spend more on infrastructure. In 2013, we were spending $500 million on the road infrastructure. In 2014-15, we spent $7 billion on infrastructure. This year, we're going to spend a little bit more, and also look at critical infrastructures like drains, not just roads. And if you look at the SPARK program, how the SPARK program is designed, draining is a big part of it. Modern draining is a big part of it, because we're in. Which
is where I wanted to go. That can we get a commitment that going forward we won't be seeing road works that don't have the attendant drainage systems. That has to be a thing of the past.
The central government is not the only entity that builds roads, which is why I said to you, we're coming to the One Road Authority, which is going to be
which is what I was referencing, actually, going forward with the One Road Authority.
We're not going to take away the roads from everybody, But just like how you have the OUR, the Betting Gaming and Matters Commission, which governs this category of things. So the One Road Authority is going to govern the standards. What is the standard for a farm road? What is the standard for a main road? What is the standard for an area that is a flood-prone area, and so on? And have the power to enforce it, because currently the NWA is both the implementer and the regulator of road infrastructure generally in Jamaica. And then we have the parish council, which is also implementing and regulating itself. We need an independent body from those two entities that can say, this is the standard you're supposed to live by. And the standard is the SPARK standard, if you look at it, because that is, when you look at the SPARK drains and you look at the quality of road and you look at the fact that the SPARK roads and drains have a warranty and they're supposed to last for 10 years. That is where we're going.
I have to leave it there, Minister.
Thank you so very much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ricardo, is it? And Cairo.
Have a good afternoon, Robert Morgan, the Minister with responsibility for work. We'll take the break and come back with more.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:53.
Birdshot fried chicken always ready. Birdshot, original crispy. Birdshot, Cajun spicy. Birdshot, a barbecue. Birdshot, we are the Birdshot.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Montego Bay and Ocho Rios is...
It's 31 degrees in Ocho Rios, 31 also in Montego Bay.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chakama figure dig the wall.
Upper Total Tools.
We walk a figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocherias, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Draxall, St. Anne's Bay. Call us today.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're discussing this matter of flooding and what we can do to make the country and in particular the capital city more resilient to these weather shocks. We have with us now the Managing Director of Lucy Caribbean Limited, Heather Pinnock. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Ms. Pinnock.
Good afternoon.
Tyrone?
Yes, Ms. Pinnock, thank you so much for joining us. Lucy Caribbean provides development advisory services and strategic planning. There are people who are complaining that what happened on Friday shouldn't happen. You heard the minister just now saying, look, even with the best drainage systems in the world, given the volume of rain in the time frame within which we got that volume of rainfall, the best drainage system in the world wouldn't be able to prevent some amount of flooding. Is that reasonable? Is that up your street anyway? Could you respond to that? Are we expecting too much from the drainage systems?
Okay, so I wouldn't say expecting too much, but I do think the minister is right. We are now operating in unprecedented times. He mentioned about climate change. The event that we have, I know it to be called a rain bomb. I understand a rain bomb is not the official term. So perhaps, I don't know if you spoke with any meteorological folks what the correct term is, but a rain bomb is essentially that it is a newish climate phenomenon where you get this intense, extreme rainfall in a very short period. And of course, the infrastructure that we have and the planning that we have done in Jamaica was based on a certain expectation, based on trends, based on history. We had certain expectations around which we designed. But now we're finding events that far exceed those expectations. And therefore, it is increasingly hard to design for and plan for and to build for these extremes.
And in a country like Jamaica, where some of the drainage would have existed for so many years and has not been upgraded in so many years, how do we go about preparing?
Well, so since I'm going to start from my planning point of view, and just to say that one of the comments I've seen is that there's no planning. And I have to state that there is quite a comprehensive planning framework. There's quite a comprehensive and extensive planning done for Jamaica and for Kingston and St. Andrew in particular. In fact, we have a new development order that was promulgated in 2023, which is a huge document. A good chunk of it gives consideration to urban planning and planning in general as it relates to our changing situation. And that includes things like densification, how far is the city of Kingston going to extend into the areas around it, so how do we address sprawl, do we go higher, all of those things. And so there is a comprehensive planning framework, but can that planning framework keep up with the rate at which development is happening? Maybe not so much. Maybe we need to find new ways. But also, to your point about the infrastructure, I saw people also saying that, the gullies were not doing well. I saw videos of that people were standing on a bridge taking videos of Sandy Gully. The fact that you could stand on a bridge and take a video of Sandy Gully is a testament to the performance of Sandy Gully, because there were huge volumes of water coming down. I would not have stood on that bridge. But it means that those gullies were working. However, what those gullies were, Sandy Gully, which is our primary drain in Kingston, was designed and implemented in 1963. That is 60-something years ago. Think about the amount of development that has happened in Kingston in the last 60-odd years. And you will recognize that perhaps Sandy Gully can no longer, in its current state, or be the only form of drainage. Perhaps we need to look at comprehensive drainage. I didn't catch everything that the minister said, but I do know that as part of what is happening. what we are probably doing, what we need to do, is consider what other interventions are needed. Are there other places where we have smaller drains that need to become larger drains at the scale of Sandy Gully? We are a city on a plain that's leading down to the sea. The water is going to start. The water that falls in the hills has to make its way to the sea. How do we intervene in the best way possible to make sure that these kinds of things are minimized? Again, I don't know that we can prevent it because these events are more extreme than we've ever planned for. But how can we respond and how can we adapt?
So work on the prevention, because a cure might not necessarily be available given the extent of climate change, basically, is what we're saying.
Not an absolute cure, but you can treat the symptoms.
Yes.
You can manage the symptoms. But yes, it may be difficult for Jamaica as a developing country, as Minister was speaking about the kinds of expenditure that we make on our infrastructure. It's a kind of thing that we really need to give consideration to how we treated our infrastructure. And then, of course, there's also the part, the state plays a very important role, but there's also a part with some of the other things we see happening. I see developments happening, developers build into gullies, block them up. There's a sense of, once it's not bothering me, it's not a problem. For my project to advance, I need to block right here, But until it rains, and then it becomes a problem for the larger community. So that some consideration, too, about how we respond to the legislation when put in place, to the policy, and also just kind of a national recognition of the things we do affect each other, that we're interconnected, and there's always cause and effect. And if you cut off something or redirect something, there's a good chance it's going to have an impact later. So some of that, I think, needs to be a core part of how we're planning our new developments or new projects, and making sure that's very central in not only the approvals process, but in the review processes and the enforcement processes.
Heather Pinnock is the Managing Director of Lucy Caribbean Limited. Thank you so much for your perspective. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
2 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. Teachers looking to work in the United States using the H-1B visa are set to face fewer job prospects. This after U.S. President Donald Trump imposed a $100,000 fee for applicants seeking to utilize the program. Immigration attorney Opal Lee says the price hike, which will be borne by the U.S. school districts looking to recruit teachers, could create roadblocks.
It will definitely have an effect on teachers because the teachers that will be paying this $100,000 will be the employers. In this case, it will be the school administration. Now, what this will mean is that the schools are going to not hire teachers from Jamaica or elsewhere. Instead, they're going to rely on only U.S. citizens or permanent residents or other people who are already in the United States with proper legal documents to fill those positions.
Teacher migration has long been an issue in Jamaica, with many educators utilizing the H-1B visa to secure better paying jobs in the United States. Approximately 1,185 teachers resigned in the 2024-2025 academic year. And though the H-1B visa is not the only route out of Jamaica, hundreds of teachers end up in jobs in the U.S. using this channel. Ms. Lee says teachers who rely on the J-1 visa could also be impacted. A manhunt is underway for 37-year-old Samuel Brown, who is wanted for the murder of popular jockey O'Neill Ironman Mullings. Mullings was shot and killed in Waterhouse, St. Andrew, Sunday evening. The police initially named Brown and his brother Sean, both of 440 Drive in Waterhouse, as primary suspects. Preliminary information suggested the shooting stemmed from a dispute between Mullings and the brothers earlier in the day. Police have now identified Brown as the triggerman. SSP Damian Manderson is the commanding officer for St. Andrew South Police.
We're seeking the public's assistance to locate 37-year-old Samuel Brown, otherwise called Shooter or Mark, said to be a laborer mason from the 440 Drive community in the Kingston 11 area. He's wanted, and I repeat, he's wanted for the murder of 49-year-old O'Neill Mullins, a jockey from that community. Mullins was killed by Brown, from all reports received, during a dispute between the two men on Sunday, September 21, 2025, around about 6:40 p.m.
SSP Manderson is urging Brown to turn himself in to the Hunts Bay Police immediately.
We're urging members of the public who know the whereabouts of Samuel Brown to contact the nearest police station. We are asking and urging Brown to surrender to the police, or to just simply, with the aid of family members, a pastor, justice of the peace, to just report to the nearest police station so that we can execute the warrant and to carry on our investigations. We're urging members of the public not to provide even to Brown, but to rather support the interests of ensuring that justice is born by allowing the police to execute our job.
SSP Damian Manderson, commanding officer for the St. Andrew South Police. The latest crimes statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF show a significant reduction in murders in the parishes of St. James and Westmoreland up to September 20 this year. A combined 104 fewer people have been killed across both parishes compared to the same period in 2025. The St. James Police Division has recorded 43 murders since the start of the year. That's a 57% decline in homicides in the division. Shootings in the parish are down 54%, while rape has increased by 46%. But break-ins and robberies have increased by 25% and 119%, respectively. In Westmoreland, 27 people have been killed so far this year compared to 74 in 2024. That represents a 64% drop. Shootings and rape have also fallen sharply in the parish, while break-ins and robberies remain at similar levels to last year. St. Andrew South leads the country's divisional murder tally with 59 homicides, down from 75 in 2024. Portland has recorded the fewest murders with 9, one more than last year. Former member of the Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC, Hugh Small, says going forward, the constitutional reform process should not be led by a government minister. Small made the comment while reflecting on what needs to be done to relaunch the process now that it sits with the new Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
I do not think that's a good idea for whatever body is set up to look at the proposals, to receive the proposals that come from members of the public, should be headed by a minister of government. If there is something that I think was a mistake in the Constitutional Reform Committee, it is that. And I sincerely hope that in the quiet moments of reflection that must take place between Andrew and Mark, that is something that they can admit to each other without making any public statement. It didn't work.
The previous reform effort was co-chaired by the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahoo Fort, but she has since been removed from the cabinet and her ministry subsumed under Justice and Constitutional Affairs. No reason has been given for the change. The new ministry is headed by Delroy Chuck, with Marissa Dalrymple Philibert serving as State Minister. Small says the new portfolio minister must ensure the process is truly representative and collaborative. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. Sports is next.
Want you to read the teleprompter, all right?
Yes. Okay.
4, 3, 2.
Welcome to Deposit Insurance in a Minute. Deposit Insurance is a system designed to protect depositors in the event that a bank or other deposit-taking institution fails.
It is a key part of a country's financial safety net, ensuring that if something goes wrong, depositors don't lose all their hard-earned money.
Big man thing, we never know say them thing exist.
JDIC is the government entity that protects depositors by insuring their deposits up to 1.2 million. So even if a bank fails, you won't lose everything.
A good something this man because me can't take the surprise with my money.
You can't say that again.
JDIC,
protecting your deposits,
securing your future.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for road transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
Do it for your best life. Great. Go check your HIV status. Great. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself it do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan. Do it for your best life. Great. Do it for your best life. Great. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alric Swaby. We kick things off with some football as at sports time, Chapeltown Maroons and Spanish Town Police were locked at 0-0 in the first match of a doubleheader in the Rare Never Jamaica Premier League at Juseland Stadium. Meanwhile, former champions Waterhouse and Arnett Gardens are set to square off in the feature match at 7:30 in what promises to be an electrifying encounter between two of Jamaica's most storied football clubs. Both teams head into the match locked on 6 points from 4 games, having each registered 2 wins and 2 losses so far this season. However, Waterhouse currently sits ahead of Arnett Gardens on the table by virtue of a superior goal difference. Paris Saint-Germain's Ousmane Dembélé won his first Ballon d'Or as the French treble winners came away with several of the key men's awards at the Paris ceremony. The 28-year-old France forward scored 35 goals and made 14 assists in 53 appearances for PSG last season as they won the Champions League title and the French Cup. He was the joint top scorer in Ligue 1 with 21 goals and named the French top flight and Champions League Player of the Year. And he also helped PSG to the Club World Cup final where they lost to Chelsea in New Jersey. Meanwhile, Spain and Barcelona midfielder Aitana Bonmati has made history by becoming the first player to win the Women's Ballon d'Or 3 times. Bonmati took the award with her international teammate Arsenal winger Mariona Caldente coming second. President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, pays glowing tribute to sprint legend Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce following the curtain-raiser call on her remarkable World Championship career. The 38-year-old icon brought her historic journey to a fitting close with a silver medal in the women's 4x100 meters relay at the Tokyo World Championships, her 17th medal in a global meet, and a testament to her enduring excellence on the world stage. Fraser-Pryce's World Championship resume is unparalleled: 10 gold, 6 silver, and a bronze, a legacy of dominance and resilience spanning 10 consecutive championships. Known affectionately as the Pocket Rocket, her impact on the sport has transcended lanes, inspiring generations of athletes around the world. Samuda hailed Fraser-Pryce as a beacon of determination and national pride.
The Jamaica Olympic Association salutes a daughter, salutes a wife, salutes a mother and an Olympian. And above all, we salute a human being whose very spirit ignited and will continue to ignite, I have no doubt, a country and the global citizenry in sport. You know, electronic records are applauded, but character is saluted. Gold medalists reach for the utmost podium, but standard bearers go beyond the podium. So, the Jamaica Olympic Association salutes Shelley-Ann, a standard bearer and a revered member of our household, whose footprints created history and whose legacy will define the future.
Samuda noted that Fraser-Pryce's ability to remain at the pinnacle of her sport for over a decade speaks volumes about her work ethic and mental toughness, quality he believes should serve as a blueprint for emerging talent.
You know, aspiring champions, the youth of the sporting world, take note. Take note of this textbook lesson in humility, empathy, respect, civility, conviction, valor, and integrity. Take note, generations of youth, and be motivated.
Christopher Samuda. Now, Kenya is toasting a golden generation of female track stars after they led the nation to a second place in the medal table behind the United States at the 2025 World Athletics Championships. Female runners won 6 of the East African nation's 7 gold medals in Tokyo, sweeping top spot on the podium in every event from 800 meters up to the marathon. That remarkable run of victories culminated in a stunning upset as Lilian Odera won the 800 meters on Sunday, shattering her personal best by nearly 2 seconds, as well as a 42-year-old championship record in the process.
Hodgkinson desperate for this gold, having missed out by a whisker twice. Odera's coming, Hodgkinson's beginning to tie up, and the Kenyans going to do it. What an upset, what a story. Oh my word, the championship record that has stood since 1983 has gone. It was too fast on the first lap, and Lilian Odera has sent the Kenyans in the crowd into raptures.
What makes the feat even more impressive is that Odera, 1500 meters champion Faith Kipyegon, and marathon winner Perez Jepchirchir are all mothers. Indeed, Odera spent several years away from the track to start her family, with 2 boys now aged 4 and 2, before returning to competition in 2023. Jamaica's national under-21 netball team kicked off their World Youth Cup campaign in emphatic fashion, securing a commanding 66-43 victory over Tonga in their opening match on Sunday. The Young Sunshine Girls, led by a cohesive defensive effort and strong transition through the midcourt, established early dominance and never looked back. A 23-goal margin underscored Jamaica's intent to be serious contenders in this year's tournament being hosted in Gibraltar. Speaking after the match, the team's captain Roxana McLean expressed satisfaction with the result and emphasized the importance of starting the tournament on a high note.
First match, so to accomplish that is a really good feeling. I think what we did well was when we made our mistakes, we spoke about it and just made the connections, work as a team and back each other.
Roxana McLean. The win sets a promising tone for Jamaica, who will be looking to build momentum as they progress through the group stage. The Young Sunshine Girls are set to face Wales in their next match as they aim to advance to the knockout rounds and contend for the title. On Sunday, the Nicholas Purran captain Trinbago Knight Riders lift their 5th Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League after defeating the Guyana Amazon Warriors.
Just 2 to go.
This season
Newcastle.
Now, the West Indies Players Association whipper congratulates the Trinbago Knight Riders on winning the 2025 Caribbean Premier League title. The Trinbago Knight Riders won their 5th CPL title on Sunday after defeating the Guyana Amazon Warriors by 3 wickets in Providence, Guyana. Whipper President and CEO Wavell Hines commented, "Congratulations to the Trinbago Knight Riders on winning the 2025 CPL title, and best wishes for the future to the players, management and support staff." They also extend congratulations to the Caribbean Premier League on another successful staging of the tournament and wish the team continued success. Now, Jamaica is preparing to take center stage and as host of the highly anticipated Caribbean Senior Squash Championships scheduled to take place this November. A total of 9 nations are expected to participate in the regional tournament, with only the Dominican Republic yet to confirm their attendance. The tournament, which has grown in stature over the years, will feature top squash talents from Barbados, Bermuda, the British Virgin Islands, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Cayman Islands and host nation Jamaica. Guyana enters the championships as defending champion. However, this year, the Jamaican team has set its sights on ending their reign. According to Karen Anderson, president of Jamaica Squash, the national team has been working under a focused 3-month plan aimed squarely at one goal: the throne in Guyana.
We actually just finished preparing a 3-month plan, so to get everybody ready. A lot of the team has come off of the Senior Pan Am Championship, so, some of them are ready to go, but just tapering off from that event and now getting ready to start back again training. So we've just finalized our training plan and getting them ready for that, trying to field a really strong team for the championships here.
While the spotlight is on the rivalry between Jamaica and Guyana, all eyes remain on the Dominican Republic, the only team yet to formally commit. However, their potential participation holds added significance. Anderson revealed that if the Dominican Republic accepts the invitation, they plan to use the tournament as a key part of their preparation for hosting the Central American and Caribbean Games in 2026.
I think they're trying to get in as much competition as they possibly can. We've been talking with them for a while now, and it looks like they may be coming this year for the Caribbean Championships.
Karen Anderson.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:21.
Already have a T-Tag for your vehicle? Just top it up and go through. Now you can see funds in your T-Tag account almost immediately after topping up. So if you're already on your journey, you can safely pull off the road and top up using the My T-Tag app or WhatsApp, or ask a passenger to do it for you. And within 5 to 10 minutes, you can enjoy the lower toll rates and other benefits of the T-Tag link. Even if you forget to top up before you started your trip, top up your T-Tag and continue to go through quicker and cheaper on Transjam highways.
Big news, Jamaica. September 22nd to 27th is the week to shop. The Everything Home Sale is happening at Active Home Center. Enjoy up to 40% off selected furniture, from sofas to beds and dining sets designed to refresh your space. Plus, choose from over 800 tiles with exciting new arrivals. Don't miss store-wide savings on bathrooms, windows, doors, and more. Just 6 days only in Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sanssouci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
School is back in session, so let's see if you are quiz competition ready. In a right-angled triangle, the square of the hypotenuse equals the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Who gave us that theorem? That's right, Pythagoras. Which city is home to the United Nations headquarters? That's New York City. And here's another one. Which country invented the Olympic Games over 2,700 years ago?
If you said Greece, that's correct. The answer is Greece. If you got them right, you're sharp enough to follow the battle of the year. From September 22 to 26, Jamaica's best journalists face off in the nationwide quiz competition. Live from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. 5 days, 5 rounds. One winner will be crowned Quiz Champion of the Year. The nationwide quiz competition. Knowledge has no borders and class is always in session. The NNN Back to School Quiz is brought to you by Wellington Dental. Dental care at its best. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited. For your best journey. And Best Dressed Chicken Vienna Sausage. Only the best.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited. Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robian Williams. A special good evening to our YouTubers. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know, we like to hear from you, so we ask you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. 1 week, and we're back at it. Happy to be here. So let's talk about some things that took place while I was not here. After 4 decades in the courtroom, countless hours poured into case files, and nearly 2 decades at the helm of Jamaica's prosecutorial arm, Paula Vanessa Llewellyn has retired, 1 PVL. September 19 marked her final day as Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP. She has held the post for, get this, 17 years. She said that it has been an honor and a privilege to live her passion and to facilitate the transformation of the office. She also said that, quote, I am satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that after 41 years as a prosecuting attorney, public servant, I deserve to take a break, at least for a few weeks. I wonder what that means, for a few weeks, at least for a few weeks. Is there something else in store? She's the first woman to be appointed DPP. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're asking you, members of the public, the people, was Paula Llewellyn a success as DPP? I'll start with the comments on Instagram, where Delroy Hay says, class act, definitely the best for me, transparent, accessible, and willing to explain the law clearly. Pleasant personality and a warm smile. Love her gap teeth. Hey, it's Lady Cutchinson saying, yes, she was. I learned so much from her regarding the outcome of cases. Her diction was also on point. I would listen to her speak all day. Rose Clooney is saying, the best DPP hands down, transparent, classy, integrity, hard act to follow. I mean, many are wondering who will be next. Tonia is saying, most definitely, she was a success. She was a prowess in her field. Her eloquence and knowledge were unmatched. Robert Gregory Lewis is saying, yes, she was good. Willie Ryan Wilson saying that my retired DPP was a success in his eyes and evidently one of the best we have had. I will never not get used to saying Madam DPP. It will take some time. Prince Argent is saying, I don't know, hard to see behind the corruption in terms of application and understanding of laws. A lot of times she remains silent on a lot of issues, even though they were breaches of the law. Somebody's questioning what he's talking about, if him even understand the question. Okay, all right. iBossy is saying absolutely 100% Madam DPP for GG, full speed ahead. On our Facebook platform, was Paula Llewellyn a success as DPP? Prince Wellington saying no politicians imprisoned for years at hard labor. I don't understand this. Okay, Vivian Hanchard is saying she was the best DPP Jamaica has ever had. Normally the names of DPP were only heard on the news. She made the news. She was brave, eloquent. Morris Mackenzie is asking how many politicians appeared before her for trial. People tend to not really understand appearing before trial. There's a whole process before trial. Maureen Bryan is saying she did great. I always appreciated how she explained some of the cases after they were finished so the public could better understand some of the verdicts. Eldon Lewis saying she was fearless, but someone got a free hit in a particular match. Philip Jackson is saying she was extremely exemplary. Is that the word? In her role as DPP, she has set a very high bar in the profession. She was always available to the media, not to mention to us, the media, to discuss important subject matters while educating the public. Top class. She goes above and beyond. George Elliott saying she was a tremendous success. I do hope that the government will find a way to utilize her invaluable qualifications and experience. Kevin O'Neill saying yes, she was a success. Mears DeMar Lenroy is saying DPP Llewellyn was more than a success. For Miguel Batista, she was an awesome DPP. She was fearless, impartial. And I see the glowing commendations coming all over on our Facebook platform. For me, very emotional. I will declare my bias at this point in time. Madam DPP is an absolutely amazing woman. DPP Paula Llewellyn, she is an amazing being. Her personality as an attorney, a King's Counsel. I recall when I first started covering court cases and I was a little bit intimidated by the whole process. And I went up to her and we had a conversation. We journalists had a conversation. And I realized that this woman is really welcoming. She's really a warm person. She's an inviting person, you know. And it was just amazing having the opportunity to be in her space, to have conversations with her. And she's, somebody said, always accessible to the media. If she can't do it, she will tell you. Yeah. But let's get to it. On our YouTube, let's see. Angie Favorable is saying next GG, Lady Llewellyn. Okay. Orinthia Campbell saying yes, she was a success, a woman of class. Sharon Bless believes Paula for the PM advisor or president for JA. She passed amazing. Let me see. She was excellent in her job. Listen, she was a powerhouse in the courtroom. Let me see. Grace Price is saying she is best. She could go to IC. Thank you, Philip Jackson, for the congratulations. Let me see. Killian is saying before Paula Vanessa Llewellyn, KC, there was Ken Pantry. I worked during the both of them, and I can tell you with her work, it appears there were no, wow. Okay, absolutely amazing lady, Killian says. Let me see. Fails the JCF detectives. Who am I? Says DPP. Fails the JCF detectives. Cordia Bennett says nice lady. The DPP, the best before Paula didn't even know who the DPP, who they were. Andrew Last is saying she had the testicular, Marigold, see the word, the testicular fortitude with our broad buck and her rhinoceros skin. Roby, she was a failure, says CJ Martinez, and it's just your opinion. For sure, we welcome each and everybody's opinion. To each his own. Glenn says Paula Llewellyn is simply the best I've experienced. Always made herself available, win or lose. I learned a lot from her. As the song says, simply the best, says Ronald Grant. She is a woman of dignity, well measured, well spoken. She fit for any job, says Cass. And I will tell you, at her retirement party over the weekend, I was present, and she gave her successor, whoever it is, a charge to keep. She says do not shut out the media. And I'll end on that note. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Derrimon Trading Company Limited says for the financial year ended December 31, 2024, the group recorded revenues of 15.2 billion and a gross profit of $3.86 billion. Derrimon, the largest company by assets on the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, shared its 2024 financial results and strategic priorities at its general meeting on Wednesday. Now, the company says total assets increased to $17.7 billion, reflecting Derrimon's strong asset base and continued market presence. TikTok's algorithm, the technology that determines what users see in their feed, will be copied and retrained using U.S. user data as part of a deal to secure the app's future in the country. A White House official said on Monday that TikTok's recommendation system will be audited by tech giant Oracle and operated by a new joint venture involving U.S. investors in order to meet requirements for the app's sale. It comes after President Donald Trump said a deal to prevent the app's ban in the U.S. unless sold by its Chinese parent company ByteDance had been reached with China's approval. White House officials claim the deal will be a win for the app's U.S. users and citizens. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 160 Jamaican dollars and 67 cents to buy $1 US, 218 Jamaican dollars and 84 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 117 Jamaican dollars and 92 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Now, PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
You want to do your thing with your queen or your king.
Or I get a little frisky that make you flex risky.
PrEP, are you extra bucketed?
To help you stay HIV negative.
PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
PrEP tablets available at your clinic from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend, your engine good friend.
Freedom, speed, agility, intelligence, friendship. These are the hallmarks that define the dolphin, the master of the seas, and are the hallmarks that inspire Sterling Asset Management. For over 20 years, we have provided investment products that give our clients financial freedom, and our service is fast, insightful, warm, and genuine. Sterling Asset Management, intelligent investing for the intelligent investor.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton, weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the nation's business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Tyrone Reed.
And we're turning our attention now to the Senate. 3 new senators have entered the government benches in the upper house. They're former chairman of the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, and CEO of JMMB, Keith Duncan, and attorneys at law Christian Tavares Finson and Rose Bennett Cooper. Mrs. Bennett Cooper is chairman of the Rent Assessment Board, while Tavares Finson is the son of the Senate President, King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson. He was appointed as an honorary consul of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Jamaica in 2017. The young Tavares Finson recently made a bid to become the JLP's caretaker for North Central St. Andrew, leading up to the September 3 general election.
But he was overlooked, listeners and viewers, for Delano Seabright, who also exited the Senate after becoming the new MP for North Central St. Andrew. Returning to the upper house are KC Tavares Finson, Charles Sinclair Jr., Kamina Johnson-Smith, Auburn Hill, Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, Shireen Golding-Campbell, Kevin Gale, Abka Fitzhenley, Marlon Morgan, and Dr. Elon Thompson. We are now being joined by Senator Christian Tavares Finson. Top of the evening to you and welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
Let me start by asking you come from a proud political family. Your family has been deeply involved in politics, Senator. Talk to us a little bit about how, if at all, that legacy influenced your own desire to serve.
Well, I am a qualified attorney at law. I did walk in my father's footsteps in that regard, but, I do share a passion for politics and a deep desire to serve my country. And therefore, my interest really is about fulfilling that dream and passion of service. Yes, my family has been involved in politics for some time, but this truly is my journey and my passion.
And are there any... Go ahead, Tyrone.
No, go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the Senator, are there any particular issues that we can expect you to champion in the Senate?
Well, I think, with my legal training, I've worked in the justice system for quite some time as a defense attorney. There are issues with the Firearms Act that we intend to look at and address. justice in general, the access to justice by the public. We hear the Chief Justice talking about issues with the jury system. That sort of thing, really is where I intend to focus on, where I believe that, the justice system is such a huge part of the lives of many Jamaicans, and they do feel, disenfranchised in that regard. So that's something that I intend to look at. Other areas of interest, of course, are, employment, the environment, definitely would be on the top of my priority as well.
We're going to come back to your, looking at what you hope to contribute to the Senate. But if we can turn the focus a bit back to a previous role you occupied, Council. You were appointed as honorary consul of the Netherlands in Jamaica back in 2017. What did that role entail, and how has that helped to shape your perspective on diplomacy and governance?
Well, that was a role that I had assumed. The previous consulate had vacated due to age. I was asked to serve. It certainly is a sort of quasi-diplomatic role where, we interface with several, government agencies here in Jamaica. As a Jamaican, almost acting on behalf of people from the Netherlands, whether they had a problem here in Jamaica. I did have to draw on my legal training on many occasions to help persons who may have ended up in custody. Actually, a number of persons died, and I had to, deal with their family in terms of repatriating their bodies back to the Netherlands and so on. So, I think that was a level of service, albeit, acting in a consular role. But, it was part of, I felt my duty. And therefore, I intend to grow in my quest for service to my country, Jamaica.
So you acted on behalf of the people of the Netherlands while stationed here in Jamaica. Is that, if I'm hearing you correctly, is that how the role functioned?
All consulates in this case, well, certainly in my case, are Jamaican, and you really are, as a designation, just asked to look out for the interest of foreign citizens here in Jamaica.
And you recently made a bid to become the JP caretaker, which we mentioned in the brief earlier, for North Central St. Andrew, but that didn't work out according to your plans. What lessons did you take from that experience, one, and two, will you be looking to throw your hat into the ring of representational politics in the near future?
Well, you're throwing the questions hard and fast. Look, I don't believe that, politics is a straight line. I think that, there are twists and turns, and, you have to be able to maneuver. My interest, yes, at that time was in representational politics. However, the Prime Minister of Jamaica has asked me to serve in this capacity, and I gladly do so. And I, in fact, thank him for seeing it fit to call upon me to serve in the Senate, in the upper house, and I will do so with vigor and zeal, and I will serve, and I will seek to serve my country as best as I can. What the future holds, that would be only a question for God himself to reveal his hand. I couldn't tell you that.
But certainly you have desires, Mr. Senator.
We shall see. We shall see.
We shall see. No, you won't put it any stronger than that.
No, I won't carry it. I won't carry any further than that. We shall see, sir. But needless to say, I am really giving of myself. I believe some of the highest levels of service that one can do is to serve their country, and I really want to serve with integrity. I really want to serve with a level of energy and youth that will make Jamaica proud, one, but will take us further in our quest for a better Jamaica, to really seek to leave Jamaica in a better place than I have come and found it.
I want to get to. Oh, go ahead, Ricardo.
No, man, go ahead.
I want to get to the father and son dynamic in the Senate, but before I do, you mentioned youth. You know, my producer seems to think you have a younger face. So her question was, as a younger face in the Senate, what do you think you bring to the table that may differ from the more established voices in the chamber? And how do you plan on engaging younger Jamaicans who may feel disconnected from politics and governance in general?
Well, as I said, you know, as a trained attorney at law, I really will seek to bring that level of expertise. You know, the upper house is where, you know, we look and review legislation that is passed by the lower house. But to really bring my legal expertise to the fore, to discuss things in an open, pragmatic and transparent way that people can now look at and say, yes, that is logical, that makes sense, and we can see where that will benefit Jamaica and will make a difference in their lives. I really think that is a challenge where people tend to feel like the political process does not benefit them or will not have any bearing on their life. So, you know, needless to say, it is about trying to connect those dots and bridge that divide where people feel that they need to be more engaged, that they want to be more engaged, because this is something that will make a difference in their lives. And that is why, you know, I decided to give of myself, as I said, and you know, give service to my country.
Senator, you mentioned the Firearms Act as one of the areas that you know, possibly would be championing. And I'm imagining you mean perhaps reforming or amending the act. What are some of the challenges you've seen with the implementation of this new piece of legislation?
No, I won't go into the mechanics at this time. I don't think that it would be fair to any of us for me to now discuss what may or may not come. But, you know, I do think that there are several important pieces of legislation that need to be reviewed. The Firearms Act is one of them. You know, we do have, you know, other issues affecting, you know, the financially challenged of this country, affecting the unemployed or, you know, of this country. I think that, you know, it is fair to say that we, as the Senate, should really look to deal with those issues expeditiously. So it's more, to me, it's more about the process, to deal with those issues expeditiously, to deal with them fairly, and to deal with them impartially, so that Jamaica can be satisfied that we are doing the job that we set out to do.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, the father and son dynamic, Mr. Senator. You know, I guess for any father and son, this must be a very proud moment for both of you. Talk to us, let Jamaicans into your thoughts on that. You know, serving in the same Senate with your dad.
Look, I'll be the first to tell you that, you know, learning from the experienced is probably some of the best learning that you can. Certainly, he is a very experienced senator, has been in the Senate for quite some time. He just so happens to also be my father. But be that as it may, you know, I intend to learn as much as I can from all the senior senators who I will find there, both on the government side and on the opposition side. And really, to me, it is about my journey and about giving back in any way I can in my capacity as a senator. I was quite surprised, really, when I was asked to serve by the Prime Minister, and I accepted, and I will certainly operate with that in mind, with a view to give back to my country as best as I can.
Mm-hmm. Senator, one of the issues you'd be familiar with coming out of the Court of Appeal is this idea of the independence of senators and how they should conduct themselves in terms of, you know, how they apply themselves to national issues. One of the big hot button issues that could potentially come before you as a senator is this matter of Jamaica's final appellate court. And I wondered if you had thought through it and had come to any position on how you would come down if that matter comes before the Senate.
No, I wouldn't get into what my position on that is. You know, that is a national issue. It is a hot topic at this time. The Prime Minister has spoken about it on several platforms, and I suspect that over his third term, he will address it robustly. We know that there is this issue of taking Jamaica into being a republic, but I also believe that if I'm a part of that process over the next 5 years, being my 5-year appointment, I will be proud if we are able to achieve that. But the way in which it is done, it is left to be seen. But I would reserve my comment on how or when it should be done until the appropriate time.
All right. Christian Tavares Finson is a government senator. He will serve for the next 5 years, unless, of course, the parliament is dissolved before 2030. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
No, man, thank you very much for having me. God bless.
All right. Yeah. It must be a proud moment, Tyrone.
It has to be. It has to be. It doesn't matter how little stock you put on these things. To serve in the same Senate with your father as the president, as no less. Yes, it must be a really, really proud moment.
Yes. We're going to take a break, and then after the break, we're going to go to Trinidad and Tobago, where the United States is escalating. Yeah, they're escalating strikes in the Caribbean Sea, and the word from the Trinidadian Prime Minister is kill them all violently. She actually said that after the break.
It's Monday, get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The E-Zone is here for you. With this thing, Honeybee.
And Karim Boyatings
from 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. Why you say?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to ezoneblindates@gmail.com. That's ezoneblindates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
These are my confessions. Share them with us at ezoneconfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow! Ow!
School is back in session, so let's see if you're quiz competition ready. In a right-angled triangle, the square of the hypotenuse equals the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Who gave us that theorem? That's right, Pythagoras. Which city is home to the United Nations headquarters? That's New York City. And here's another one. Which country invented the Olympic Games over 2,700 years ago? If you said Greece, that's correct. The answer is Greece. If you got them right, you're sharp enough to follow the battle of the year. From September 22 to 26, Jamaica's best journalists face off in the nationwide quiz competition. Live from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. 5 days, 5 rounds. One winner will be crowned Quiz Champion of the Year. The nationwide quiz competition. Knowledge has no borders and class is always in session. The NNN Back to School quiz is brought to you by Wellington Dental. Dental care at its best. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited. For your best journey. And Best Dressed Chicken Vienna Sausage. Only the best.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Does Jamaica benefit economically from sports? Setbacks such as dropping the baton in the men 4x100 meters relay notwithstanding, Jamaica is in a state of euphoria after the performance of our athletes at the just concluded World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan. Beyond the hype, how does being near the top of the medals table benefit the country economically? The painful truth is very little. Some will seek to refute this fact by citing the millions of United States dollars in advertising that accrue to brand Jamaica each time our athletes make the semifinal or final in a stadium with thousands of fans and billions more watching by television. Those who make this argument are unaware or may have forgotten that brand value is not money in the bank. What is the missing ingredient? Why Jamaica is not benefiting economically to the extent that it could from sports? The answer to that vexing question is partly to be found in this truism. The icons of sports earn money for themselves. It is industry that creates wealth for a country. Jamaica has not made the investments necessary to create a sports industry. The global sports industry, by some estimates, generates revenue of between 430 and 620 billion United States dollars. The revenue comes from company sponsorship of sports events, gate receipts from live sports events, merchandising, media rights and streaming, sporting goods, licensed products, intellectual property, for example, trademarks and designs, infrastructure and construction. At areas like sports tourism and health products, and the revenue balloons to close to 3 trillion United States dollars. How many of these revenue-generating activities do we see taking place to any appreciable extent in Jamaica? Our iconic athletes, like retired Usain Bolt and retiring Shelley and Fraser Price, performed their most amazing athletic feats in stadia in foreign lands. Their most lucrative contracts are by foreign brands, and their biggest checks are signed by foreign hands. As long as that remains the status quo, we will be left with the hype, while other countries with much larger populations but winning fewer medals are the ones laughing all the way to the bank. Prime Minister Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness has declared that his new administration is pivoting from stabilization of the Jamaican economy to inclusive growth. We need look no further than sports generally, and athletics in particular, for a source of newfound wealth that has the power to transform the lives of individuals and their communities at the base of the social and economic pyramid. It is the gift that keeps on giving to Jamaica. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Do it for your best life.
The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is...
It's 3 minutes after 7. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're going to go down to Trinidad and Tobago. International human rights lobby group Amnesty International has warned that any further airstrikes authorized by the U.S. Congress in the Caribbean Sea would violate international human rights law. Now, the group says such strikes could also lead to unlawful execution. Amnesty International USA's Director of Security and Human Rights, Daphne Eviatar, said that if the Congress authorized strikes against suspected drug traffickers, that would not change the fact that the lethal force amounted to extrajudicial executions.
Now, listeners, viewers, the group also warned that even with congressional approval, the use of force in the Caribbean Sea would have no legal justification under international human rights law. The Trump administration has already claimed responsibility for 3 airstrikes on shipping vessels which they alleged were involved in drug trafficking. The U.S. has claimed the vessels originated from Venezuela.
Multiple people are thought to have been killed in the strikes. Now, it's been reported that Trinidadian fishermen are reportedly fearful of going to sea at the risk of being caught up in any further strikes. Now, listeners, you'd recall that the Trinidadian Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, was quoted as welcoming the airstrikes, and she urged the U.S. government to kill them all violently, I think was the quote attributed to her. We're now being joined by lead editor for News Gathering at The Guardian, Kejan Hayes. Good evening.
Good evening to you. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Thank you very much for having me.
Not a problem. Let me start with the comment from your Prime Minister, Kejan. Kill them all violently. That's an accurate quote? That's what she said?
Yep, it was absolutely accurate. And it was sent via text message, so there was no room to misinterpret.
And what was the reaction of the Trinidadian people? Because here was the United States, some are saying violating the sovereignty of Trinidadian waters, perhaps even Venezuelan waters, and indiscriminately executing people on the high seas. What was the reaction in your country when she offered this response?
I think we live in a world, and I'm sure that it's the same in Jamaica, it's the same in the U.S., where it's partisan. So if you support the government, you support the Prime Minister, you support what she said. You believe that what she said is for the best of the nation, and she's doing the best job possible. And of course, on the flip side, if you don't, if you support the opposition or the former government, it's the worst thing that she could have said. It's just as divided as you can imagine, if you're talking just the man on the street. What we found interesting was that the police commissioner also came out and seemed to be in support of it as well. That was also a little shocking. You don't really get the police commissioner talking on international affairs like that.
You said it couldn't be misinterpreted because it was sent via text message. Who was she responding to particularly? Was a question asked of her? What were the circumstances?
Well, so the Prime Minister is, she's very, so the way we get on to her now is that we will send messages, text messages, because we don't always see her in public. She's not as open in terms of like press conferences the way Dr. Rowley was. So this is the preferred method of communication. And what happens is she will send out a blast to a group of reporters throughout the media, and everyone got this same text message around the same time.
Wow.
So it was one of the larger, it was part of a larger support for the U.S., but the rest of the message was, again, in support for the U.S., but this line, which was actually buried somewhere in the second paragraph, obviously is one that stuck out to everyone.
And I understand, Kejan, that the Prime Minister's position has heightened tensions with Venezuela, such that Trinidadian fishermen are now sort of caught in the crossfire, no pun intended.
Yeah. What we've had is unprecedented, a sort of tit-for-tat name-calling via social media and through press conferences I have never seen in my career or even lifetime where you just have a name calling of leaders across the board, especially through neighboring countries, the way we are with Venezuela. Like a lot of the times, the diplomatic language, as I'm sure you know, is always very tempered. With we have good relations, but it's almost boring to report on sometimes.
Yes.
But this is again the first time we're seeing this sort of almost puerile, for lack of a better word, back and forth on social media. And to your point on the fishermen, it depends on who you talk to. Most of the fishermen are saying that what they do is they stay within the zone. We've had heightened tensions with Venezuela before, where the Guardia Nacional, if you venture into Venezuelan waters, they're very strict. So over the years, Venezuela, the fishermen don't venture into those waters if they don't have to. If they drift, maybe something might happen, but they've always been cautious. What they will tell you is, well, the people who are doing the bad things, doing the running and bringing the people across, well, they're not fishermen. They may have fishing boats, they may have pirogues, but they're not fishermen like us. They're doing they're the ones doing the illegal things. But as we say in Trinidad, fishermen will never say it's fish rotten. So I highly doubt anybody that we stick a camera in their face, they're going to say, well, yeah, I'm the one transporting anything like that. So you read between the lines, so to speak.
Has there been any reporting concerning how members of CARICOM or the leaders in CARICOM may be responding to the posture being taken by the Prime Minister of the Twin Island Republic? Anything coming out into the media as to how our colleagues around the region may be responding to the posture that she's taken?
They're taking a more diplomatic approach. We have, before the Kill Them Violently talk came, around the time the Kill Them Violently talk, I should say, came out, you had Mia Motley. She was speaking at the first day of CARIFest. She was in a panel discussion, and she would have said, we need to keep the temperature down. This is a zone of peace. You recently had Dickon Mitchell from Grenada saying the same thing. Tufan Ali as well from Guyana was saying, this is a zone of peace. We need to keep the temperature down, that kind of stuff. So the rhetoric really is really high from our camp. Unfortunately, I have been looking out, but I haven't heard anything from Prime Minister Holness on your end. But I know he had a busy couple of weeks, so he may not have been paying attention. But I don't think anybody's directly referred to her comments. But what we are looking forward to see is how everything plays out at the UNGA this week. A lot of most of the CARICOM leaders are speaking on either Friday or Saturday, I believe, including our Prime Minister speaks on Friday. So it'll be interesting to see what they present to the UNGA.
And of course, Dr. Holness, our Prime Minister here, is the chair of CARICOM. Let me also ask if you've been able to get, I know in her first term in government, Mrs. Prasad Besessa, her relations with the rest of CARICOM, it wasn't always smooth. Of course, here in Jamaica, there was a very contentious relationship, certainly for a period of time, about whether Trinidad was an ATM and that kind of rhetoric. Have you been able to get a sense of what the posture of this new administration is as it relates to CARICOM?
I think it's gotten worse. When we had signed, I'm blanking now, but there was something that we agreed to, and the press release that came out was, no, we're not going to CARICOM with this. We have no intentions of going to CARICOM with this. This is the decision that we have taken for the good of our people. And she's also said that the ALBA countries, like St. Vincent and Antigua, who are part of ALBA, with Venezuela, who would have made their decision or met with them, she said, well, when they met and they made their decision, they didn't consult CARICOM, so CARICOM is already divided. There was a meeting of CELAC a few weeks ago, where most of the countries agreed to keep this as a zone of peace, and Trinidad and Tobago, I want to say Argentina, and one other country were probably the only ones who either did not vote or voted against that resolution from CELAC. So you see Trinidad and Tobago really is the cheese standing alone in CARICOM, at least for this particular issue.
Is there a growing sense, Mr. Haynes, of vulnerability in TNT? Because I'm not certain what the policy is on the ground in Jamaica, Ricardo, given that Nationwide has been reporting on these matters of any member of CARICOM, any CARICOM country, any member state, just any Caribbean country in general, the possibility of being caught in the crosshairs of U.S. anti-drug policy and, international human rights scrutiny as it's listed here. But is there a sense, as you can, as you've been reporting on this matter, you're putting your ear to the ground, that Trinidadians are concerned that something could go wrong with these strikes? We're not used to this kind of activity in the Caribbean. We're not.
Right. And that's what the fishermen are saying. So the fishermen are of the belief that as long as they are fishing in their waters, and they don't go anywhere where they're not supposed to go, then yes, everything will be fine. But they are concerned, but they are taking the precautions, which would be stick to what you know.
Right.
As for the people, I don't think.
Right, generally, Trinidad in the street, right.
Trinidadians don't take things as seriously as we should. So when I don't think anyone genuinely believes that there's going to be a war, I think they all think it's posturing and just grandstanding, and it will never actually amount to anything. So if we look now, like there are memes talking about the state of our Coast Guard. There's a pirogue that has a picture of the Coast Guard written on the side. And we're like, is this what we're going up against Venezuela with? So Trinidadians, in the most dire of circumstances, will always find a way to make a joke out of it. I always say the only time we will take things seriously is when Friday afternoon rolls around and there's no carib or stag in the bars. And then at that point, they're going to be like, oh, I think we're in some trouble here. But until then, I think everybody is just going about their day.
Keishan, the Prime Minister of Trinidad has taken, and these are my words now, a very strange, and this is from I'm an outsider looking in, a very strange, she's ideologically positioning herself in ways that I wonder whether it is to draw her closer to the Trump administration, or has she genuinely always be like this? And I'm talking about things like, I hear her advocating for stand your ground laws. Certainly the rhetoric on crime and national security has gotten increasingly hostile. Right. And I wondered if you thought that was really just grandstanding, or you think she actually intends to pursue these things legislatively and policy-wise.
Oh, she absolutely. One of the things I have joked about and written about is that Kamala Persad-Bissessar has... How do I put it? Okay, so she... In 2010, when she won, she ran the most Obama campaign that you could think of. There's hope, there's change, there's everything is great, positive, Kamala is here, And then around 2020, she adopted the Trump rhetoric style down to make Trinidad great again.
She actually used that. She actually used that phrase.
She did.
Oh.
Sunlight will kill COVID. It's like down the line. It was, and she's kind of maintained that posture even during the
the Biden years and all of that. So now what we're seeing is just, I always say, like, we've had a Trump Prime Minister and a Obama Prime Minister. They just happen to be the same person. So the other thing that comes up is the country is not in the best financial state. When you're not in the best financial state, you don't really have the ability to do goodies and giveaways like she used to in the first administration when, money was running. So the kind of legislation you pass now would be stuff that won't cost the taxpayer any kind of money. So you have to stand your ground legislation. Crime is a problem. Here's how we're fixing the crime situation by, making it easier that if someone comes into your home, you can deal with them. Because if you look at the flip side, has there ever been a situation where somebody defended themselves and got into trouble? No, not that I can think of. However, but if you create
a permissive structure, essentially.
Exactly, and you create how to put this? You market the disease and then sell the drug.
Yes.
The disease is home invasions. Crime is really bad. The drug is give everybody a gun. You deal with it yourself. So it's not what are we doing to solve the crime situation. It's I'm now arming you or giving you the tools to help deal with the crime situation, which is now out of control.
If I could turn our attention from this just a bit, just still on what's being said by the Prime Minister. She made a remark recently. I'm not certain if we've spoken to you since then. Someone was calling out her full government name. I can't recall who it was, and she made some remarks about, at least her name is ancestors and not some slave name, right? How was that received by the country?
Yeah, not very well. That one didn't go over well at all. So I guess for your listeners who may not know, she was called in a teasing way. We say we're like, if you know somebody's middle name, you'll be, or like as a mother's, you'll be like, whatever, last name. So she was being teased by Camille Robinson Regis. She was being called Kamala Shushila Prasad Bissessar again and again and again in that sort of teasing, mocking way. And then the response to her was, well, at least I have my name. At least I still have my name and my family's name. You have a slave name or something like that. And it didn't go over. It did not go over well. Not many people understand why or how that would have, where that would have, come out as a good idea. But I mean, as you see, it didn't cost the election. So the racist rhetoric cost the election in 2020. Did not have the same effect in 2025. The anti-government rhetoric or the anti-PNM rhetoric was way too, or sentiment I should say, was way too high for that to make a difference.
Are there concerns about the Prime Minister's how do I put this delicately, well-being? I mean,
yes, we don't see her often taking questions from the media. Is she well?
Yeah, we've kind of, like I said, we've kind of figured that out. In her 10 years as opposition leader, she did exactly one long interview. And this was probably in 2024, early 2024. She barely did press conferences. She probably stood up for the budget once a year at like a special occasion. So all in all, she was never very acceptable to the media. But in the media, what do? You either cry about it or you find out where she is and you find her that way. So that's why I said, the WhatsApp conversations is where you get nowadays. Well, she has to go to Parliament, so you'll stand up outside Parliament, and she's actually very receptive there. So you may not get like a full hour-long press conference like you would have under Dr. Rowley, but we'll get to shoot a few questions here and there as she's going into Parliament. So maybe it's not ideal, but to make the best of what you have and try to report to the public what was said.
Keyshawn Haynes is the lead editor for News Gathering at The Guardian. Of course.
Interesting times.
Indeed. And it's so interesting, Tyrone, because if we here in Jamaica don't get to talk to Andrew Holness in a press conference or any kind of structured way for too long, all hell breaks loose.
As it should.
Keyshawn Haynes, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Lead editor for News Gathering at The Guardian there in Trinidad.
It sounds like you're not agreeing with...
No, I absolutely agree. I found it interesting
I want to be clear.
I found it interesting that he said, you just have to do the job in spite or despite her positioning. But I've realized that since she has become Prime Minister, I haven't seen her do a lot of... I think when she just became Prime Minister, there was a whole week where she sort of just wasn't seen in public. And so she was working from home.
And you wonder, though, I mean... Mrs. Prasad-Busesa is known to be strident on issues, and she's known to offer remarks that are not, for example, that ATM remark, it's not as diplomatic as what one would expect from a head of government, right? But she... In recent times, she seems to be coming across as a little... she seems to be shooting more from the hip.
Yes.
Without due regard for what the remarks...
the consequences.
Yes. Yeah. And, for example, that slave comment and kill them all violently, it causes you, as an outsider, because we're not there day to day in Trinidad and Tobago, to say, I wonder if all is well with the thought processes. And I'm trying to be very, very charitably. You see where I'm going?
Yeah, but it seems to me she's playing to an audience of one. I mean, it's clear, and Keyshawn said it, that, she is taking on Trump-like tendencies, the rhetoric. She seems to be trying to become friendly with the Trump administration. It's clear. I mean, she even, in that same breath that she made the comment about kill them violently, she said she'd be willing to make Trinidad available to U.S. troops if necessary, So she clearly thinks there's some value in playing to the Trump administration.
It's wild, though, Ricardo. It's absolutely wild that a leader in the Caribbean, is offering these remarks. And the Caribbean, as you've been hearing from, as some of the leaders have been coming out and saying, is a zone of peace. Yes. We don't want that kind of activity in the Caribbean. You leave the stress of where you are in some of these developed countries, and you come to the Caribbean to relax and to enjoy the niceties, the sun, the sea that the Caribbean has to offer. We don't want airstrikes taking place in the Caribbean region.
Can you imagine?
It can't be something that we're...
Exactly.
No, it can't be something that we welcome around these parts at all. And it's absolutely wild that kind of thing is taking place in the Caribbean. Absolutely wild.
But
I shouldn't be accepted.
You know what, Tyrone? We should be reminded of that quote, elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. Yeah. The Trinidadian people,
Indeed.
They had their say, and she won in a landslide. So, what are you going to do?
Well, to Kamla, Sushila Prasad-Busesa with love.
Careful now, careful. You call her middle name and she ask you if you know where your name comes from.
I did on X and got quite a bit of responses from Trinidadians nonetheless. But for real. When Jamaica won 2-0, I tagged the post. I think it was by CONCACAF.
Oh.
And said to Kamla that
when we played Trinidad.
Yes, I love. It was quite a story.
You love get yourself in that trouble. We're going to take your calls now. 630-937-124, 618-8255.
Jamaica's poverty rate has dropped from 16.7% to 8.2%. As the government's economic program begins to pay off, our country is heading towards sustained growth. We are building Jamaica. The time by the office of the Prime Minister is...
It's 28 minutes after 7.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose fittings and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the hose and tool boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Escape to Idle While in a grill where sand and serenity meet. Visit idlewhile.com or call 876-957-3302. Idle While and stay a while.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowners Savings Plan or HOSP from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
We're taking your calls now. You're tuned into Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks. He's Tyrone Reed, and the numbers are 630-937-124, 618-8255. Faithful, good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo.
Good evening to you, Faithful.
Yeah, good evening, sir. How you doing?
Doing all right?
Yeah, I think I live in a very ticklish world. With
a very what kind of world?
Ticklish.
Ticklish. Mm-hmm.
Oh, troublesome world. I call it the troublesome world. Yeah, with England, Australia, and Canada recognize the Palestinian state. The war in Sudan, I can't forget Sudan, where they kill 70 persons, the rapid support who get the backing from the Arab. And there are so many killing and things that taking place, and with what it takes place in the Caribbean. And I note at the press, the soaring service by the Prime Minister, he say he's willing to speak up for those who are suppressed, but at the same time, remember, how will he navigate Jamaican prospect through the world at this time? And for those who advocate for Palestinian state and non-Palestinian state, who's crying out for the person, for people living in Sudan, for the African, those who run the African program, who's arguing for the people in Sudan? I think more people die in Sudan than what they did in the West Bank and in Gaza and all these places. Who's arguing? Who's advocating for those persons? Because under what is said to us over the years is what Israel is doing, what is taking place between Russia and Ukraine. Hardly anybody in this side of the world arguing for the people in Sudan and in Africa. Even those of us who say we are for Africa and it's the African program we're running, we are more consumer with what America is doing and what taking place in Gaza and all these things. Can somebody give me answer that and tell me about that?
You've asked this question multiple times, Faithful.
But I never get the answer that I need.
Right, we can't give you the answer. And I've answered the question. You seemingly are not satisfied with the answer, and so you keep asking the question. I do have a better answer for you.
You can people dying in Africa. I think more than we're dying in Gaza, and how we talk about it is what Israel is doing to the Gaza people. Even those of us who say we are Africa Forum and we are Africa this, we are more attitude towards Africa.
Tell me, Faithful. I don't think we've had this conversation, so let me engage you on it just a bit. What do you think should be the appropriate response? What do you think should happen?
The same like I went at the United Nations, and to want to argue for a Palestinian state because of the atrocity that Israel is doing to the Palestinian people. And I need the same voice to speak up for those people who, so I think that more people are dying in Sudan than were died in Gaza and the West Bank. I need the same voice, same person to speak up for those persons also. Where are the voice for those persons? There's none. Only because those persons is in Africa and are black. And even a little program, those persons who said there is Africa Forum and Africa for this, they are more concerned with those persons.
Well, I guess some would say, Faithful, that all men are created equal, but some are more equal than others, I would suppose. I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Well, Faithful, I just did a quick Google search, and you say nobody's talking about it. Not true. Here's an article published 2 days ago where the UN chief has sounded the alarm over the worsening crisis in Sudan.
I recognize that.
And the Secretary General has also condemned it and called on the international community to do more to provide humanitarian aid because the situation is deteriorating.
But they call special session. They call special session to recognize the Palestinian people, which they should.
Faithful.
Why could they not do the same thing for them also? And also in Jamaica Ricardo.
I've explained to you that you live in a world where these are just the marbles we play with. The powers that have the say, right, to call special sessions of the Security Council, right? Unfortunately, and it is unfortunate, do not place the same premium. And so each time you come and ask for a new answer, there will be no new answer. This is just the world we live in. And you're going to ask for Jamaica to go to the UN and extend its voice. The harsh truth is... The harsh truth. Here's the harsh truth. Harsh truth. To what end? To what end would Jamaica's foreign policy be aligned in that direction?
Will it diminish or will it take away from Jamaican foreign policy?
No, but Jamaica has never. I don't think Jamaica has ever given a either or. You're framing it as either or. That it's Palestine or Sudan. I have never gotten that impression from Jamaica's foreign policy.
I said, Ricardo, in the same breath as though we advocate for the peace and stability for the people in Palestine and Gaza, so we should do the same thing for the people in Sudan.
All right, hear you, Faithful. Thanks for the call. Bobby, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Anglo Bongo.
Anglo Bongo, how things?
Well, I'm okay, and all is well, man.
We give thanks, you know?
Yeah, man. Still waiting on your call, you know, sir. So you make sure you call me in advance, you know. Yes. Yes. What I want to say to the Jamaican people today, I know there's quite a few concerns out there about the size of the Holness cabinet and how much it will cost the Jamaican taxpayers. Look here, from 2016 until now, the Holness administration, they have delivered. They don't tie down the Jamaican people into no new taxes over all these years. And I can tell the Jamaican people, and I'm not being promiscuous here now, and I'm telling the Jamaican people that this new administration that the Prime Minister formed with the 18-member cabinet and the 13 senators, you will all get value for money. They will even do more in this term. You know, that is the reason why I had said to someone earlier on, you know, one of the reasons why the most important reason why I support the Jamaica Labour Party under the leadership of Dr. Andrew Michael Holness is because, trust me, what they have come with from 2016 until now, they have mean the country good. And the majority of Jamaicans have spoken on September 3 that they have mean Jamaica good.
I hear you, Bobby, and that is all well and good.
Right.
But I have to admit to you, it's more than a little uncomfortable, the size of this political executive. I think there are now, 5 backbenchers on the government benches, just Everett Warmington, James Robertson, that gentleman from St. Elizabeth, his name escapes me now, Dwayne Smith, and who else? There's a 5th person I'm forgetting. It's just about 5 Marlene Malahoo Fort. It's more than a little uncomfortable, Bobby. I can't think of another time where almost every single member of the lower house for the government serves in the executive. And I have to admit to you, I also don't see a lot of justification for some of the appointments. But I hear your promise to the Jamaican people that there'll be value for money and it will deliver. So I suppose we will see.
Yes, because you remember in 2016, we have won by call it 2 seats, and they take away 1 from us. And eventually, we get back that 1 seat, and we hold the 2 seat in Parliament.
And achieve so much without such a big executive.
Exactly.
No, not exactly. So the question is now, why exactly is it relevant or necessary? No. Because even with 49 seats, the executive was not this expanded.
Because, Ricardo, remember in 2016, is a test the people gave us, and we passed.
Okay, and then in 2020, when you were rewarded richly, you had an abundance of riches, the executive wasn't this big.
And in 2020, what the people do is give us a master's degree.
Oh, I see.
And in 2025
so Bobby, the size of the executive, how much it's costing the country, is not a concern for you at all?
No, because trust me, they have delivered. Look here, crime is down, right?
Yeah, but them delivering and crime is down is no justification for such a massive break front.
No, Tyrone, when crime...
Because this is bigger than a cabinet.
No, Olano, Tyrone. And Ricardo, when crime is high in the country, it burn the pockets of the taxpayers. You look into it and see.
No, Bobby, you and Bobby, come on, you can't make that argument with us here. We and myself, I'm not certain if Ricardo has, but you've heard my commentary on what we've done with crime. And the whole administration deserves a lot of credit. I also argued here that it can be said, and I'm not certain that it could be said of any other national security minister, at least not in my lifetime, that the Jamaica Labour Party is the party of National Security Minister Dr. Horace Strang, because he is perhaps going to go down on record as perhaps being our best ever national security minister if this trend continues. But that doesn't mean, because they're doing well on those fronts, that they should be given a pass if they're doing things that don't seem to be in the best interest of Jamaica. We have to hold the whole administration accountable. And the cabinet is big, and there are some people in it, as Ricardo said, he might not want to name names, but there are some people in it who you wonder, why did the Prime Minister bring these people into the fold? And even some of the older heads who are in as state ministers, how is that about renewal? Because some of those people are not young enough for us to make that case for them.
But they were there before.
Marisa Dalrymple Philibert is a state minister, Ricardo. Am I?
Yes, that's correct. In Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
But the fact is, Tyrone, they were there before, and the country have seen value for money.
Who were there before? Not so many. No, some of these people were not there before. Bobby, that's not true.
Okay,
some of these people were never ministers or junior ministers. And ministers in the previous administration, they weren't. Sorry.
And the final point I'll make about this is, I know there are some people who say, well, this is succession planning, and so it's a good thing. I come down differently on that because I'm not sure succession planning is a matter, or the JLP succession planning, let us be clear, that's what that is a matter for the government. That seems to me to be a party matter as to how the party changes the guard. That's not a government matter per se. Certainly that's not how I see it. But I hear you, Bobby. I hear you. But I maintain it's more than a little uncomfortable.
And the fact is, we can agree to disagree. But I am saying one thing, and you are saying another thing.
Yeah, and look, right? And I don't want you to think in my saying another thing, I'm disregarding the points you're making about the successes the government has had, especially as Tyrone said on crime and that kind of a thing. But I'm not clear that the successes justifies what we're seeing in terms of the size of the executive. I'm not sold on that.
Okay, we will talk again on it here.
All right, my brother.
Okay. All right.
Carl,
Michael.
good evening.
Evening, Tyrone. Tyrone.
Here you go, Master.
I want to ask you something. And there's a man who believes in that things must run right in our country. I don't know if you know about a wing that is now going on at the Spanish Town Hospital. It's been operate under the leadership of soldier. I think what is happening out of St. Thomas must stop tomorrow morning, reorganize it, and get the soldier to run it. Misha is going on too hard now.
There's a beeping in your background, Master. The folks say must take the car out of reverse. The folks are you.
No man, the car ain't in no reverse.
He had the door open.
We set up all kind of alarm around the place.
Hold on. Let me understand that thing, Carl, because I saw that check released a letter, or was it a statement? I can't recall now. But it said that what Miss Shaw had requested was that the liaison officer should change. And I thought I saw a check saying that was in keeping with regular, it was a regular occurrence. That if the sitting member of parliament is the person who gets to recommend the liaison officer. Isn't that what happened?
I heard that from last week, from before Misha even.
And I thought I heard the Prime Minister saying that in parliament as well.
Right, before Misha even touching a parliament, problems start out there. So you shut down the project and restart it and get soldiers to occupy it.
Hold on. But why are we shutting it down? What is the justification for shutting it down?
We see what is coming.
No, you have to help me. I don't know what you're talking about. Help me.
Jamaica people thinking of very much 2.5 weeks ago to choose Jamaica. Because if this is the start of what we are seeing with these people...
man, Carl. Wait no, man. So I just told you the facts as I understand them from check. You seem to be suggesting that something untoward has happened? Something else has happened? What is that?
It soon come, Tyrone, not far away. Okay. Ricardo, it soon come. Ricardo,
okay. Well, as you can imagine, we can't comment on that because I can't really tell you what... Okay.
Anyhow, next one we want to... I heard one of the person where did the concerning he moving from Mr. Golden Country to become a republic and left he come to the Caribbean Court of Justice this evening and said that the government, whosoever have it in hand now, no politician, no minister must organize and at the head of it. What is happening to these PMP people?
Hugh Small?
And if they know some of them are government.
But what he said wasn't unreasonable, Carl.
When this gentleman come this evening and talk such foolishness, hold on, a PMP around Jamaica still? Are them a government?
Hold on.
I don't understand them.
Carl, no. What he said wasn't unreasonable. He was saying...
government being led by Andrew,
yes,
Dr. Andrew Michael Holness.
Hold on, no, man.
And if Mr. Chuck is the head of that body, Mr. Chuck is the head. So for him to come this evening with him foolishness.
I don't agree with you that it was foolishness. Did you listen to what he was saying?
Let's hear Ricardo's interpretation of it.
Ricardo, Hugh Small was saying that having sat on the Constitutional Reform Committee, he didn't believe that it worked best with a government minister who, the truth is going to be seen as a partisan actor, because that minister represents a cabinet and represents a government, and then by extension a political party. And his point, as I understood the interview that I did with him, was, look, it's best to get somebody who is not perceived as already coming to preconceived ideas, because they come from a political party with positions. And so he referenced the previous effort where I think it was Justice Carr who chaired it, and then Dr. Lloyd Barnett. And he said he thought that approach worked better. But I want to say, Tyrone, and we lost Carl, sorry about that, Carl. I want to say, though, that a group, and I can't recall the name of the group just now, a group was invited here to review the constitutional reform process, an international group of, I think it was constitutional attorneys. And they actually concluded that it was best to have a politician at the helm of it, because their reasoning, here's their reasoning, was that ultimately a politician is the one who has the legislative power to actually push things along.
Absolutely, and you're going to submit it to the politicians,
yes,
for them to take a decision on it. Look, Ricardo, you hear me quote this quotation all the time, which is why I wouldn't agree with the learned attorney. Governments are elected to govern.
Yes.
If there is a process for constitutional reform, I would not recommend removing the people that the people of the country, the individuals that the people of the country have given the power to say, go and form the government and get this thing done from leading that charge. I could not support that. I would not support that at all. Governments are elected to govern, and in order to govern, you must do what is necessary in certain instances to get consensus. Then if you can't get consensus, then you must find some other way forward. But there's no way, I'm not so sure I could support that. I don't think it's the best course of action. We just need to have all the stakeholders represented from a wide cross-section of Jamaicans on it, well, wide enough to ensure that we have enough voices and not too big so that it doesn't become a bureaucracy in and of itself. And then you get the thing done. I can't support that at all.
So you think a politician should continue to be chair?
Yes, man. Yeah. Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, well, as I said, I can't recall the name of the group now, but I do recall that an international group did come here and reviewed the process and said that they thought it was appropriate for a politician to head it, because
it is sensible, and it is a big ticket item going into what was or just concluded general elections, and the people of Jamaica have given the mandate to the Jamaica Labour Party. They should lead this process forward. It shouldn't be that we're going to say, people who are seen as less political. A vote took place, and these people won a vote.
But what do you do?
They have to form the government.
Yeah, but what do you do with the fact that, sure, I hear you on being elected and having a mandate, the fact that the constitutional arrangements almost give equal say to the loser of the election as it does the winner.
But and this is where consensus is needed. And if
which you Small went on to talk about, by the way, the fact that the compromise was now going to be needed between Dr. Holness and Mark Golding.
Here's the thing: what you're doing is kicking the can down the road towards something that is inevitable. At the end of the day, you're going to have to come to the point where you still have to put this thing before these political individuals and say, try to arrive at a consensus, because certain things require a 2/3 majority.
Yes.
Right? In order for you to get any form of constitutional change. So if you remove them from the process now, or leading the process now, eventually you're going to have to come back to them for them to arrive at consensus. I say let them hammer it out behind closed doors in these meetings. Yes. And so when we get to the parliament, it is a formality.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have them hammering it out in Parliament and then dragging out the thing forever.
Yeah, and I take the point. And I don't have a great difficulty, let me be clear, with a politician continuing as head. I was just explaining, because I think
it's not entirely unreasonable, is what you're saying. I got the point. I know you're saying, Eli, it was not entirely unreasonable suggestion. But I'm not certain I agree with it. Allow the government to govern. The opposition should not oppose simply for opposing sake. Yes, they should have principled positions on which they are opposing, and if both of them come to any sort of consensus, we come to the people.
Yes,
which is why.
Well, I have long said I think these matters should be settled by the people, because I have come to the conclusion I don't think we're going to move forward at all. Because our politicians just seem to think that if they give at all or give and take at all, then it's going to be seen as a defeat. So I think we should perhaps have an indicative.
Let's be fair here. Yeah. The whole administration has said, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. It is the CCJ, the matter of the country's final appellate court.
Yes.
That is the big issue in the room. The Prime Minister in the national debates has said he has a position on it. A final appellate court. His position is for a local final appellate court, but he thinks, given the division on the matter and how consequential it is, we should take it to the people in a referendum. It is the opposition People's National Party that is basically wanting to write off taking this to the people. And I have a problem with that. In a democracy, clearly there is no sort of political consensus that will be gained on this issue. It must come to the people via referendum. Tell us what you think should happen. Don't tell me that the law doesn't require for it, so we're not going to go to the people. Even if the law does not require for it to come be put to a referendum, Sir Ricardo, the fact that there is no political consensus on the matter requires that you go to the people who hired you. You go to them and say, look, the two major political parties that form the government in the legislature, the opposition and the government benches, we can't agree on this matter. What say you? That is how a democracy should function. It is absolute madness. Yes, and it is anti-democratic for the PNP to take that position.
And it's an elitist position. Whenever I see, and it's usually a position I see from lawyers who will tell you that it's not required by law, it smacks of elitism. I have no difficulty, none whatsoever, with it going to the people. I think that you're absolutely right. That's the only way to break the gridlock and the stalemate. Get an indicative referendum done.
Absolutely. It's you can do that. There's no law against doing that. And this is a democracy, for crying out loud. Why would you not want to go to the people? You just want to have it done the way you think is best?
Without having consulted the people, by the way.
Oh, come on. Look, I'm telling you, and they accuse Prime Minister Holness of being autocratic and then take a position like that, of trending towards being a despot, because you've heard the remarks, yes? And then this is the position they take. That is what is anti-democratic.
The jokes write themselves, my brother.
At this rate, I tell you.
But we're out of time. That's all the time we have. Dana Davey was our producer. Thank you so much. Andrew Glenn Anderson was the man who guided us, our pilot, this evening. Thank you, Bugs. my colleagues in the newsroom, the very best in the business. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Tyrone Reid.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For over 30 years, Chris and Charles has been financing your